What's going on, people? Welcome to another episode of Spoiler Alert! I'm your host, Tony Polanco, and tonight we are spoiling Godzilla. Godzilla. Point to him! He's there! Off in the distance! Alright, tonight I'm joined by Emilio Lopez, who's pointing at Godzilla. We got Mr. Brian in the house.
Hey, people. This is actually the first one I've done where I haven't done a review yet.
Yeah, what's up with that, man? You falling off, son?
I had one day to do it. I was like, no, I can't do this. No, I had to sleep.
All right, we got Mr. JJ from the Koalition joining us once again.
What's up, guys? This is a king-size kaiju episode.
Damn right. We got Chris Seeley joining us from STFUandPLAY.
Hey, guys.
He's the Indian Gohan tonight. We got Mr. Anthony Nash from Max Level.
What's up, everyone?
And we got Emily from Max Level and the Koalition, because she's just that badass.
Oh, shit,
Hey, guys.
All right, guys, so we're here tonight to spoil Godzilla. Ooh, I've been waiting for this movie ever since it was in. I was like, wait, Legendary's doing a Godzilla movie? Droll. So we've all seen it. Yeah, this is pretty much like the first serious Godzilla movie since the 1984 one, and before that, the last serious movie was the 1954 one. You know, so it was really good to see like a more serious Godzilla. I thought the movie was good, but I think there may be some little dissension in here. So let's get it started. So who wants to start us off here? Brian, let's start with you. What did you think of the movie?
I thought it was good. I enjoyed it. There were a few things that I didn't like about it. Particularly the last fight. It felt that it was a bit too short. It's like they didn't show the actual Godzilla, or they didn't show much of the Godzilla fight towards the end. So maybe if they had extended that by like 30 seconds, it would have been better. But overall, I liked it. Will I watch it again? Maybe. I don't know yet. I'm still kind of like, it's okay, but I can't see myself seeing it again. I'd rather see Spider-Man 2 again.
Okay, we'll talk about that shit then. Ooh. All right. Anthony, quick thought. What do you think of the movie?
I thought the movie was good. I can see why a lot of people didn't like it. A lot of people thought that they didn't show enough of Godzilla or the other monsters. I can kind of agree with that, but the plot, aside from the monsters, was good enough that I kind of looked past it.
Yeah, Manny.
I liked the film a lot, actually. I thought it was really good. I mean, it had its problems, but I really enjoyed it.
Chris.
I thought it was smart. I thought the build-up was really good, the human connection. I liked it. I would agree with Brian a little more at the end, but I thought the fighting, when it got down to it, was superb. I thought the effects were excellent, and I enjoyed it thoroughly.
JJ.
I actually also liked the film. I thought the film was awesome. I think it was a great reimagining of Godzilla. It was something that the franchise, really needed. It had that old-school Toho style to it. I think that a lot of people that were really kind of disconcerted about the movie now, they've seen it and kind of had little issues with it here and there, are usually coming from a position that they don't understand a lot of the nuances of the original Godzilla, the first movie, because a lot of the stuff that was done in this movie was harping back, and it was really kind of referenced, here and there. And also, I thought it was really cool that there was two little neat Easter eggs in there that were kind of like big nods that everybody in the theater lost their minds over.
We'll get to those in a bit.
Oh, okay, well, they're a little bit funny, but I'll mention them later. But I thought that there was a lot of love and actually really understanding the source material that went into this movie. And I think that's what we all really needed to see after the monstrosity that was the last movie.
Emily, quick thought. What do you think?
I loved it. I thought it was a perfect blend of kind of monsters and plot. The cinematography was awesome. The score was awesome. The chemistry between all the actors was awesome. I'd go see it again in a heartbeat, honestly.
Awesome. Yeah, I thought it was great, too. I thought it was like a good kind of throwback to the old Godzilla movies. But now, let's get into the nitty-gritty of it. Because one thing that I liked about the movie was basically that it took itself seriously. This was not a fun movie in that sort of sense. It was very, heavy and stuff. And it dealt with, the main issue of the movie was basically, man versus nature. Nature's going to win. If you really think about it, and we're just going to skip around, man didn't do much in this movie. It was really Godzilla took care of everything. It wasn't like another big kaiju movie that I'm going to discuss later. It wasn't anything like that. What do you guys think about the themes? And right now, you just jump in talk whenever you want.
Thought it was good. I thought that as far as like the role the humans played, I thought it was just about right. Obviously, like much other people, I had a problem with some of the acting. I thought it was interesting that I forgot his name at the moment, but the guy from Breaking Bad, he died pretty early in the movie, and I thought it was interesting how they kind of touted him and a lot of the marketing for this that he was going to be there for an extended period of time, like he was a key role to it. So it was kind of like a little curveball they threw everybody, which I thought was weird. But as far as like in the grand scheme of things, involving the kaiju, the Muto, which is the big foes, in this regard, that Godzilla
there's two of them, yeah.
He's fighting two of them, a male and a female, which I thought was different because usually when Godzilla usually takes on a monster, it's just like one big main baddie for the most part in the grand scheme of the series. Because in other movies, he's done a battle with multiple monsters, but in this one, male and female, which I thought was a new type of concept they were going for as far as his enemies. But as far as the grand scheme, the themes that about the nuclear type of like test and different technology that people were using in order to kind of inadvertently cause the spawning of these creatures to come up. I thought that was really, really cool. It was kind of like it was a good modern take on kind of like an old concept that was from the original '54 Godzilla movie, which I thought was pretty cool.
Yeah, that's something we don't really discuss nowadays as a society, like nuclear power. Like it was all the talk back in the days when the original Godzilla came out, but we don't really talk about that. But it's still kind of a danger. All that waste is still piling up. What do you guys think of the whole fact that these are ancient monsters that we woke up? I found that a little bit corny. It's like really these giant monsters were just running around like millions of years ago.
I think
it's something, because what else can they do? Like, can they pull off a Pacific Rim and say they came from the ocean or they came from another dimension? In my opinion, they went for the thing that makes the most sense out of everything that they had on the table.
It was also the simplest thing that you could have chosen.
Yeah.
Because I mean, if you think about it, the original Godzilla is a little bit. It's already got a lot. It's like he's a dinosaur who continued to live, who was mutated by a nuke. So I think they really just wanted to get that out of the way really quickly and just get to the actual thing.
Yeah, but the problem is if you think about it in a biological sense, like you would need a thriving population of Godzillas, and the Earth couldn't handle that many monsters running around.
And also at the same time, it's also it's also a sci-fi movie.
Nah, man, it ain't like that. I ain't trying to hear that shit.
One thing I will say though is that I did like how like the Muto had its like electromagnetic pulse powers because it made it much more of a threat, but specifically besides being the Godzilla, but more of a threat to the humans because everybody obviously was so dependent on technology that every time he smashed the ground, it was an EMP pulse that totally messed up everything going on.
Well, I have a problem with that because how was that useful in ancient times? I mean, what does an EMP pulse do if there was no technology?
Yeah, that was one problem that I had with it too. If the monster's been around for so long, an EMP blast wouldn't really make sense to use prior to like this day and age.
Yeah. I almost saw that as not really as an actual weapon. It's just something that it did. It was just like a side effect of something that it did. Walking.
I could buy that. I could definitely buy that.
I mean, obviously it's a movie device. That's what it really is.
Definitely.
But yeah, I understand. Yeah, it's like back then. It's like even 100 years ago, it's like EMP wouldn't really do anything. It's like do stuff.
It could be just fall off from the nuclear power. Because remember, the Mutos ate nuclear weapons. They ate like nukes. So again, when you set off a nuke, you get a massive EMP pulse afterwards. So that could be a side effect of that.
Yeah, it could just be like a genetic mutation over time.
Is it like the Mutos were farting and that just happened to be an EMP pulse?
Yeah, right.
I don't know. No, it just seemed like they transmitted that stuff because remember when Godzilla killed the final one, like, as soon as it was dead, all the power came back on. So I guess they just admitted that shit.
Yeah, but it's funny because even after they went away, all the power seemed to come back on again. So it's kind of convenient that their power is only temporary.
Yeah, it's kind of weird.
Temporary.
Yeah, it's temporary.
I love like the little sub theme in the movie. It's like, we need to go back to analog stuff. I love like they found all the research was on zip disk. It's like, I need to go back to my house to get my zip disk, and it's like, we can't remote detonate the bomb. Let's put this clockwork in here from the 50s.
It kind of looked like the one from what was it? From Russia? No, Dr. No.
From Dr. No, like nukes,
the timers. Old school, man.
Let's put the timer from Dr. No on this.
I'm glad the Navy just happens to have I Omega drives lying around so you could read those discs.
All I gotta say is 15 years ago from those iOmega drives, I know that my iOmega drive did not work at maybe at least 5 years after they went out of they stopped using them. You know what I mean? Like mine just went dead inside of my computer.
Yeah, that's what we call movie convenience. And Chris, you talked about this last night. What's his face? The main dude, Ford. He's like the luckiest man on earth. How many deaths did he escape just during his entire life?
Oh my God! You think about it, this guy escaped Japan twice, right? From two disasters he escaped. He is the only survivor of the mission to transport the nuke. He was the only survivor of the Halo jump. And somehow he got rescued off the boat when the last nuke went off. So he survived like 5 impossible things. And I'm like, just promote this guy to Admiral and buy him an island, and like, you're good, man. Give him the Nobel Peace Prize. Love it.
Yeah, and he's also like the only human that the monsters actually looked at eye to eye. You know, this guy was like, I see you, little human. I acknowledge your existence. So yeah, there's a lot of little conveniences, but yeah, it's one of those things like you just have to shirk it. But I know a lot of people complained about the fact that let's just get into it. A lot of people complained about the fact that there wasn't enough monster action. I thought it was a good balance of it between the human stuff, because I felt it made it more realistic to see shit on to television and seeing the underground stuff. I thought that was really cool. It was more well done than fucking Cloverfield. I'll tell you.
Hell of a tease, I'll tell you that. Because everybody in the movie theater when they're watching it, is that first time when you first see Godzilla and the boys watching the TV, everybody's like, ah! Like, because we want to see what's going on with the monsters like that. And they did that to us twice throughout the entire movie until finally we get to the final act.
Another thing about it is that if you ever watch the original Godzilla films, they don't give you Godzilla right away.
No, they don't.
Yeah, they make you wait.
All of those films, they make you wait. So it's definitely, for those people who don't remember, have never really seen Godzilla films, there's always a big space of time between.
Especially in the '54 one, the first Godzilla movie, they definitely did that a lot.
But I think that helped the movie. It kept building that tension. It's like, what's going on here? It
was a nice build-up. When you finally got that payoff, I thought it was well worth it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but my question is, because it's pretty obvious that Godzilla only comes out to fight these other monsters, right? What the hell did he come out for in 1954 then? I have a theory.
It was the nukes.
No,
actually, they said it was the sub. It was the submarine, because remember, they had the first nuclear sub that I think was the Americans had.
So it was the nuclear
and then when they actually woke him up and he was communicating with them like that, they thought it was the Russians, and the Russians thought it was them. Like that. So everybody was like, okay, what the hell? And then they finally discovered it was Godzilla, and that's when they built one of the bombs to actually kill him.
Yeah, which it didn't really kill him. It's like, a nuclear-powered monster, and you're throwing nukes at him.
Mm-hmm.
How's that going to end?
They didn't know that. They just thought it was a big monster.
Yeah, but what did Godzilla do for like 56 years? Like, I'm going to go back. Godzilla should have gills. I was just thinking about that now. He should have gills. Like, dude, you're breathing underwater the whole time. What the fuck?
Yeah, I got that as well. I'm like, okay, so then Godzilla's been under the sea for like how many ever years? So, like, how does he breathe? Because
he has
he doesn't have gills. He has nostrils, but no gills.
Well, I mean, old Godzilla didn't have that either.
Oh no, this goes for that guy too. It goes for him too. Damn it! How did you breathe, little Godzilla? I don't know. Yeah, see, I had my little theory. I guess it's kind of debunked as the movie said, but I was wondering because remember that one, like it either had 4 arms or 6 arms. You saw this monster in the teasers, right? Where was this thing in the movie?
That was the Mudos. The Mudos walking. That was the female Mudo.
No, it's but it had had things like that.
Mm-hmm. That was the Mudo. That was the foot of the Mudo.
I definitely think that they were trying to pull a lot of switcheroos on us for those trailers. There's a lot of things in those trailers that we did not see in there, or was a slightly different event. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. Like there was this one part in the trailer. You see the doors closing to that restaurant, right? And in the trailer, you see Godzilla roaring, but in the
movie, it's them fighting.
Yeah, he's biting. Yeah. That was one thing I really liked, though, the way Godzilla was animated, because it's obviously been a dude.
They animated him breathing, which I thought was interesting. Like that's new. That's like really attention to detail.
Oh yeah.
Well, there was also some motion capture on that film too, which I don't know if it was.
It was done by Andy Serkis.
Yeah. So was he Godzilla?
Yeah, he did some of the mocap for Godzilla.
Yeah, that would be awesome though. Yeah, I just like some of those things like you see Godzilla just grabbing his fucking thing by the throat and just biting. I'm like, yes, man.
Yo, for the record, everybody towards the climax of the film, when he finally did his fire breath into the mouth of the female, that the entire theater erupted. Everybody went ape shit after that.
Dude, I went ape shit before that because the whole time when the Mutos were fucking Godzilla, I'm like, yo, homie, pull out the fire breath, man. And then when like you see the glow, I'm like, oh, here it comes.
The tail lights up, right?
Yeah. Oh, yes.
That was great.
I was the only one there who was just in my chair like this, and like, yes, 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 yes. Everyone else was just quiet and just looking at me. I'm like, he's about to do his, like, his special move, people. You're excited.
To the theater, bro, because every time you go to the movies, you're like the only dude going nuts, and everybody else is just like...
people here suck, that's why, honestly. Like, how can you not get excited? His tail is lighting up. It's glowing blue. I'm like...
No, I was in the theater, and his tail started lighting up, and the whole theater went, oh, and then he breathed, and the whole theater...
That was the same expression everybody had in the theater.
Into applause.
Yes. See, you know what? We need to go to one of those theaters too, man. Everybody in our theater's just like...
Exactly.
Okay, yeah, that's cool. There were some kids chattering. That's about it. It's like, I don't want to hear you guys. But yeah, when that tail lit up, I'm like, yes, thank you. Because I'm like, he's not breathing. Like, dude, just breathe fire. Do something. And then when he did the tail swipe, oh my god, the tail swipe. Remember that? Oh.
That leads to my point. The question I was going to ask, like, what did you guys think of like every blow? Like when they were actually fighting, did you like really see and feel the power of like every blow? Like when Godzilla swung his tail, when the Mutos were messing him up on the ground, when he was stomping on him, when he was like grabbing them by the throat and stuff. Like you could really feel the power behind every single one of those animations and the CG work. I thought it was awesome.
Well, it's weird because you saw the effect of each blow, and I thought it was well animated. But if you think about the science of it, every blow that they created should have been shattering everything around them and should have been loud as fuck. They were so quiet. Like, even the Brody, the main guy, he didn't hear Godzilla sneaking up to bite the Muto in the back. It's like, he's huge. You should hear him stomping around from miles away. It should be like thunderclaps every time he walks.
That's because Godzilla has sneaking mode.
He's so quiet. I'm like, damn, he's too quiet. It's like, even the building's crumbling. It's just like, shh, the building's falling.
That's suspension of disbelief right there.
Yeah, no, I didn't know something like the whole movie half the movie should have been boom, 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 boom. You know, it was supposed to be really loud. They were really quiet.
It's also you know, even that other Godzilla we shall not name also did some amazing things that we could never explain.
He's sneaking around the buildings too. It's like, how do you do that? Look how
he was hiding behind buildings. Also, he could also burrow underneath the city without crumbling the city on top of him.
Or disturbing the subway at all.
Yeah, disturbing the subway.
That Godzilla movie. But yeah, going back to what JJ said, not only did I feel the power, but it hurt too, because you were seeing Godzilla getting stabbed. Like you've never really seen that before, like too credibly in the other movies. Like, you know, by the end when he like fell down, and I was like, yeah, I don't blame you, dude. Take a break. You're fucking like you're full of holes, right?
I thought he was dead.
Yeah, dude, he must have bled out to death, you know.
I also really liked the moment, like the little bro moment between Godzilla and Ford that they had, where they just stopped and like stared at each other, and they were like, "We know." Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
If they did some kind of weird fist bump, if that could have been possible.
Wait. Like, let's see.
Wait. Do it again.
That needs to be an animated GIF. That'd be so funny.
Oh, let's see if it works this way. There you go.
But yeah, that's one thing, you know, going back, that's what I really liked. It was like an old style of movie making, and I thought it was great. Like, you don't need to show us everything. You show us enough. And I you know, even though I still could have used a little bit more Godzilla, I still think it was just enough. And, yeah.
Well, there's one thing I did have a little issue with was Ken Watanabe's stuff. Like, because all of his acting moments begin the same way. He's always looking in the distance stoically, and then he explains something.
and then he goes away sad.
And then he goes away sad. Or like there's this one scene where it's like you know the guy is in the front, right? You know, the foreground, and then Ken comes in, he's like, "We need you." You know, it's like that. You know, it's something like that.
And one thing, to his credit though, which I thought was cool, is like a nice little like nod or an Easter egg, was when he finally said Gojira. Like for whatever reason, the entire theater just erupted like that because besides him like saying it the right way, the Japanese way like that. Well, no, it was a nice little nod to like longtime fans. Like, did you notice that there was like a bunch of different ones all over the place?
On
Like,
the
compared to like older movies.
On the news, it's funny. Also on the news, they also called them. One of the news blurbs was also Gojira as well.
Yeah, also on the tactical map and the Navy had it said Gojira on it.
Yeah, on the radar.
Yeah, on the radar.
There was a lot of different throwbacks to it. When they visit his old house, I don't know what was in the tank when Ford walks by, but it was named Mothra, whatever was in.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Yeah, a lot of what were some other little things there? Because they threw in a couple ones here and there.
Here's a cool one. I mean, it's not really a nod to a movie, but also a nod to like a specific site in Japan where they were actually like some of the events were going on. That power plant that actually breaks down, like where was the guy from Breaking Bad where he was working at. That's actually a nuclear power plant in Japan that actually had a meltdown. That actually was like completely abandoned. That they CG'd into the movie, and I know this because one of my friends was actually stationed there before it all went down.
Oh shit, that's pretty
Which
crazy.
is really cool.
Yeah, one thing I'm wondering, and obviously none of us can answer this here, I wanted to see how the Japanese are going to take to this movie because I felt it was really
called him fat.
homage. I know they say he's fat, but it's like the movie it's not corny like the other one. It's I want to know how they're going to take this. Because I don't know, but
It would be interesting.
Yeah, it would be. Yeah, we got to look at that. It's like it's only Saturday, so the movie's still up. But I want to see what because I know they were like, they kept saying like, let's just hope it's not a disaster like the other one. It's like, guys, stop blaming us for that, please. It's over. Like, goddamn.
Just send him Roland Emmerich. Let's send him over there as a peace offering.
You know, I hope that this kind of lights the fire on their ass like the other Godzilla did, where they start making their own Godzilla films because. It's like we have to do it, and then they decide to start doing it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. Here's one question: how do you make a credible sequel to this if you do one?
Make a Godzilla. Boom.
No, but I mean without it being corny, because I love Mechagodzilla, but that's kind of cheesy, you know.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, we got Pacific Rim, so it could be done.
I guess you'd have to do something from space, maybe.
That's the only thing I think of too. Is like some.
No,
space
I think realistically we could get another mutated monster from inside the Earth. Because I mean, I'm pretty sure
It's
those
the same
are obviously
story,
not the three monsters.
It's the same.
Yeah, but it would be like the same. Like they eat radiation, unless they came up with something different.
Well, what if they tried to clone Godzilla and made a different monster? That could be interesting because remember, obviously, there's blood that was going out of Godzilla's body from that fight. So all that destruction went up. Maybe somebody tries to clone Godzilla, get some of his blood.
Yeah.
I love it how like they were like Ken Watanabe's not in irons after that whole fiasco, and his organization is not arrested. It's like, oh yeah, we buried the other embryo in Yucca Mountain because that's where you put all the nuclear garbage. It's like, oh, and you've just been experimenting with this for 15 years and you didn't think this was going to be an issue?
Yeah.
We got some steel wires and a taser, a giant taser. That was
Yeah, that's what it was too, man.
So I'm like, wow.
The people are just about as effective in this Godzilla as they are in the Japanese one with that stupid laser weapon that they used to use. What was that thing?
Yeah, they had a big satellite dish that shot lasers or electricity.
Well, the only good weapon that they ever had in any of the Godzilla movies was the oxygen destroyer. That's the weapon that killed Godzilla in the original movie, which no mention of or no kind of nod to at all.
No, there was no oxygen destroyer. which wasn't really it was more like the acid machine or something like that because it instantly skeletonized the original Godzilla.
Brian, you're gonna say something, man?
I was just about to talk about the sheer incompetence of the military in the movie. It's like, hey, let's kill this thing that eats nuclear radiation with a nuke.
Yes, I bothered me too. Yeah,
I felt that was
how
appropriate.
did are you guys?
It's appropriate for that because that's like the typical military response is like, oh well, you only used a 20 kiloton bomb, but if we use a 40 megaton bomb, this will obviously work because its explosive force is so much larger. You know, that's the logic. Just a bigger explosion will work.
Yeah.
I also was completely dumbfounded by the fact that in the final act, before Godzilla comes and destroys the female Muto, his entire military group are all standing in one spot, firing their guns at this huge.
Yeah.
It just made no sense. Like, it was terrible. They weren't.
They did that in the beginning of the movie too. Like
Yeah.
when Godzilla first appears, like they're all just firing and nothing happens.
The one thing I never understood was how they know pretty much from the beginning of the movie that the Mutos have EMPs, but every time they get EMP, they act like they're surprised.
Yeah, like what happened?
They don't know what caused it, even though they know what's happening.
Yeah, it's like the most incompetent fucking military. So, like, how do you guys? Okay, let's all stand in one spot in front of the monster and shoot at it. Like, spread out, man.
Well,
and then again, why are you shooting at the giant monster with a stupid gun? It's not gonna do anything.
Here's an even stupider thing. Like, remember that scene on the bridge when Godzilla first shows up next to the Golden Gate Bridge? That scene. How is it that was the only driver, the bus driver, was the only one that lost his mind and started speeding up full ahead out of all those drivers that were stuck there?
Oh well.
I gotta say is why is it that the only driver that flipped out? Why you gotta be black?
That too.
That's my.
He was like, nigga, fuck this shit. I'm going. Fuck the military, son.
That's the new rule in movies. Children can't die. So he had a bus full of children, so he was absolutely safe, no matter what.
Nobody else thought to do that. Like everybody else was stagnant.
Well, it's just like in Hawaii when that family with the little girl all of a sudden ducked into Starbucks that was absolutely waterproof.
Yeah,
that was weird.
You don't think that every other fucking drunk Hawaiian tourist that was there would just see you and go, "Oh my God, that's a great idea," and then all the water would come rushing in with them.
Wouldn't the glass break, technically?
Yes,
it
the
would
glass
break.
was shattered.
It was cracking, but it didn't.
You could say they died. They just died after the scene cut.
I thought the dog in the tree, I thought that was going to die. That was going to be messed up. Everybody's like, oh, man.
No, that was the thing they kept doing, like the kid on the monorail and the little girl in the coffee shop.
It was crazy that the dog broke free of his thing just by running against the tree.
I thought I was like the only guy that like noticed this and had a problem with it. I'm like, okay, so then the dog is tied to the tree. Okay, the dog's going to die. Next scene, the dog is running away. I'm like, why? Just kill the dog.
That was a
You
movie
don't have
against
the
Peter.
dog.
There was just to satisfy Peter.
No, that whole time I was like, screw the humans. I don't even care. Like, let the dog be the lone survivor of this film, please.
He outruns the tidal wave.
I didn't care about the people. I'm like, survive, dog. Live in.
That's how it should have ended. They should have cut to the Godzilla going under and then the dog just dog paddling.
Yeah, right next to Godzilla.
Speaking of ending, like, what did you guys think of the ending overall? Like, how he ended where he lived, and then he just went back to the ocean.
I really like the fact that people cheered him on. You know, like, I really like that. Like, it was another one of those things that reminded me of Ghost of Sparta from, God of War. Remember that game was like the only God of War game where people praised Kratos, so like, our hero.
Yeah, when he goes back to Sparta.
Yeah, exactly. So it was kind of cool seeing like Godzilla, like the anti-hero, whatever he is, getting cheered. And that's the other thing I wanted to bring up about the movie. In the first Godzilla movie, he was clearly the monster. He was just out to destroy everything. In this one, Godzilla he wasn't about destroying humans. He didn't care about that. He just wanted to kill those monsters. As soon as he did that, he was gone. He wasn't.
He used a lot of opportunity to avoid humans. Like, he could have split the Saratoga in half, like 3 separate occasions.
He went under it.
He went right under it. He went under all the battleships. He even got up slowly, so they would just.
Yeah, he was really nice to them. Yeah.
He didn't go under all of them. There was some that.
And they still fired on him, by the way.
Yeah, it's like, come on, don't fire them on, man. But yeah, I did notice. Like,
but still, I have to say that Godzilla is still a dick to boats because he only went under one boat. The rest, he just said, fuck them, and just appeared out of nowhere and screwed them over.
Well, he knew which one was the main boat, so he didn't.
Yeah, exactly.
But still,
my boy Ken
why?
He's Japanese like me. I'm not fucking with that boat.
Here's the thing. He's a giant monster, so he's more of an excuse to destroy boats than, let's say, Superman. Did anyone remember Man of Steel?
Yeah.
Is Smallville still on the map of America after that movie? How about Metropolis?
Don't get me started on that. It's like, I know we're talking about Godzilla. I just got to harp on this real quick. So, like, the villains are there in Metropolis, and Superman just goes in to fight them. He doesn't even try to punch them away from Metropolis. No, let's just fight in the fucking city. It's like, and that movie still had more destruction in it than this movie did.
Yep.
That's hilarious.
Because of that stupid gravity machine, the gravity squishy machine, or whatever the fuck it was.
Well, also, between him and Zod, Godzilla never destroyed the Hubble Space Telescope. Superman somehow did in that whole fight.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, I did like that. It's like Godzilla was like, hey, listen, you humans, I don't really give a fuck about you. I want to kill the monsters, and that's it. Because, I just had visions. Remember the first one? Like, he was in there. He was, like, destroying power lines, fucking with trains. He was just going, like, fuck this shit, I'm mad. And this one is like, Golden Gate Bridge is like, I guess I got to destroy this thing. I got to get these things. But he was hesitant about it. He was just, like, holding on to that little part. Like, should I? Okay, the black guy passed. Okay,
this one was supposed to be an alpha predator, right? So I guess to him, the humans weren't much of a like a prey.
Yeah.
Well, if you look at it, like in this film, Godzilla is kind of the embodiment of Mother Nature. You know, he's the chaotic neutral of the world, and his only goal in this entire film is restoring balance back to the ecosystem. So he's not interested in the human race or anything else. He just wants to be the baddest bitch in town, basically, is what's happening.
Yeah, exactly. And nice Dungeons and Dragons reference right there.
It would have been a different film if he actually was causing a lot more destruction, like the Mutos, like just going in and just wrecking house.
Yeah.
It would have been a lot like the original Godzilla film.
To be fair, though, even the Mutos weren't like, oh, let's destroy all the humans. They were just like, power plant. I need to lay my eggs. They kind of didn't care too much either, you know?
They acted like more like real animals, but just one
They act
single
like
thing.
animals, yeah.
Except for that one moment. It's like, you killed my egg.
Yeah, that was the only one. Was like, I'm mad. But yeah, that was kind of cool. Oh, go ahead, Emily.
Oh, I just think that's one of the reasons I really like the film, because a lot of monster films are constantly just, oh, here's a monster destroying and attacking humanity. Oh no, what will we do? But the entire plot of this movie involved, monsters looking to further their species. They weren't really interested in what the human race had to say. They were looking out for themselves, and kind of the human race was kind of just a secondary. They were just in their way, so to speak. So I really enjoyed that they weren't deliberately just attacking people for no reason. So I thought that was a good kind of plot point.
Yeah, you know what that reminded? Yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh no, I'm done.
You know what that reminded me of? Remember the remake of King Kong that Peter Jackson did?
Yeah.
That bothered me because the T-Rexes were like, okay, you're falling down a pit and you're still trying to eat the human. It's like, no, you're an animal. You would be trying to save your life at this point. If some big monkey dude punched a T-Rex in the face, T-Rex was like, fuck this shit. That's not even worth it. I'm gone. So yeah, you're right about that. I like that in this movie, even the Mutos, they acted like animals. They weren't acting like, I must destroy all humans. I am mad. You know, so that was cool.
Let me ask you guys this. Now that this movie's made, and it's actually, for the grand scheme of things, besides everybody that doesn't like the movie, this movie's decently good in a consensus. Does this open up the door for like big, monster mashup movies like Godzilla versus King Kong, then a remake or something?
We'll see, because Pacific Rim didn't do too well until later, and this one we don't really know how well it did. But I would like that.
Guillermo del Toro was talking about doing maybe a Godzilla and Pacific Rim crossover if both movies did okay, and if both studios were okay with it.
Well, it's all the same. It's the same. It's Legendary and Warner Brothers. So it can happen.
Yeah, and that's something I want to bring up in this podcast too, because I've seen after this movie, a lot of people were comparing this to Pacific Rim, and I'm like, that's wrong. They have giant monsters, and that's about where the similarities end. They're two different kind of movies. Godzilla is really a story about man versus nature, and the story is that man can never win against nature. Pacific Rim is an alien invasion story, basically. You know, and in Godzilla, humans were helpless. They couldn't do anything against this. In Pacific Rim, it was about the humans taking their planet back. They were fighting back effectively against these monsters. So it's just a surface level, similarity. Other than that, it's two totally different movies.
Well, when somebody sees monsters, they're just going to compare it to whatever monster movie they saw last.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Does everyone in here feel good about Pacific Rim? Did everyone like it?
I thought it was good. Yeah.
I thought it was good, yeah.
I wish the story was a little better. It was kind of weak at some points.
But it makes me want a Mobile Suit Gundam movie. That's what it makes me want. That's right, because literally, now at this point, that could be done.
I think for Pacific Rim, it was just it knew what it was, and it's like, okay, there's just enough story to get robots punching monsters. You know what I mean?
Yes. It's like the guy said, hey, people like monsters and robots fighting. Let's give them monsters and robots fighting, and the rest is all who cares.
I really felt like it was kind of a live-action anime. Like the dialogue, the cinematography, everything was just so ridiculous and awesome, and I loved it.
You know something? I just realized something, because now that Pacific Rim came out, Godzilla just came out, we're getting a brand new Mighty Morphin Power Rangers live-action movie. All this kaiju stuff is now starting to resurge. Like before, it was the anime-based movies, which is still going on in Japan now. Now we're starting to get these kind of big, classic kaiju-like stories that are being, re-envisioned, remade, and stuff like that. Is there any other, big ones besides, the obvious that we would want to see being remade or given this type of treatment?
I want an Ultraman movie.
Yeah, we were talking about that during dinner. We want an Ultraman. Oh, yeah, and there's something else that, Manny told me about it. I didn't know this. Apparently, people are just using kaiju for anything now. You know?
Yeah.
Like you were telling me that they're using it for like the universal monsters, like Frankenstein and Dracula. It's like,
oh god,
that was actually my girlfriend was talking about that to you. She's like, yeah, they're kind of using it for everything nowadays for some reason.
it's the new hotness.
Yeah, like I know kaiju means just monster in general in Japan, but yeah, that's not to me a kaiju means a big fucking monster.
The part of it that people seem to forget is the dai part of it. Dai kaiju. That's the big one. Theoretically, yes, they could be all kaiju, but that's if you were using Japanese.
Yeah, one thing I wanted to bring back about Pacific Rim and Godzilla, the fights in Pacific Rim, they were really cool, but the thing is you didn't really feel that visceralness because it's just a monster punching a robot. When it's a monster slicing into Godzilla, someone that you care about, it's like, oh, you kind of feel it more, you know what I mean?
These fights were more elegant in Godzilla. I think
they were, yeah.
It was more gritty, kind of like action-packed, kind of like just a regular action movie, even though it was sci-fi. But this one, it was like, it was almost majestic because they were so large. It was like so awe-inspiring. You couldn't believe
that was one
what was
problem
in front of you.
That was one problem I had with Pacific Rim. It felt like the scale of the monsters, they all seemed to be the same size. In Godzilla, you could tell that each monster was differently sized. They sized up against each other. In Pacific Rim, it just seemed like they were all generally big, huge things.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, like when you saw the female Muto, it was like, wow, that thing's really fucking big. And then the little one, you could tell it was small, but because of that, it was a lot faster too, which I really like. Going back, like you said, it's more elegant. It was, but in one sense, it was more brutal in Pacific Rim. That ending, because I thought Godzilla was going to pull a King Kong. When he grabbed the jaws, I thought he was going to do a King Kong. Like, no, he was like,
that was awesome. That was the best moment in the entire movie, hands down. That caught everybody by surprise.
I actually semi-predicted it because I knew that Godzilla was going to kill something with his beam ray thing, but I didn't know that it is going to be that one. I thought it was going to be the male one because
he just got
crushed. The one is smaller. Yeah, but he got destroyed.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he got tail smacked. Like that's how it went down. Like seriously.
Yeah, that was really...
like the level of violence because like wasn't this like a 12 or something like that?
Oh,
like
PG-13 for us.
PG-13. But still, like you fired a beam down someone's throat and decapitated them. Like,
but it's a monster.
That's a monster.
Exactly. Though.
Yeah. As long as it's not a person.
It's a monster.
It was awesome.
And it's a monster, and it doesn't bleed red blood.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm still like, wow, that's pretty violent. Like even though it's all this, it's still quite violent. Like with Transformers, I think it was Transformers 2, when Optimus Prime like rips out the guy's head and like you see his spine or his robot spine. I was like, wow, that's quite graphic. But because it's a robot,
they could even get away with that in a kids show because it's just a robot. It doesn't matter.
Samurai Jack, remember? Essentially, he's just chopping up all the robots, decapitating them, and everything. And
their blood is
oil. They squirt out oil.
Black blood.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. Going back a little bit, I want to talk about Bryan Cranston real quick.
I actually wanted to talk about that too.
Yeah. Okay. Let's talk about it because he was like the marquee guy, but they kill him off like maybe. Like a third of their movie, but the thing
was very surprising.
But the thing is,
the marketing was all around him because it was his name.
But to be honest, though, what would he have done afterwards? Just yell a lot more.
I think the movie might have been a little better story-wise if it was Bryan Cranston and Ken Watanabe like trying to figure out how to stop it instead of just like the soldier just like being like a super.
I think they really wanted somebody inside of the action though. You know what I mean?
That's the only way they could have really shown the action.
You can't really have Bryan Cranston doing all that stuff.
Yeah.
I think he essentially did his job, and it was like exit stage left. I kind of compare it to Han Solo in Return of the Jedi. Essentially, Han Solo really didn't have much to do in Return of the Jedi after they got him out of Jabba's palace. So theoretically, he could have died, and it would have been fine. And I think
he was supposed to die in Empire Strikes Back. He was supposed to die there, but Bryan Cranston.
That dude, he kind of reminds me of the same dude, the guy that played Perry Mason in the original Godzilla film. Also, Ken Watanabe seems like he takes on that similar type of role where he's just like hanging back, like giving like almost a little bit of a narration, like philosophical narration every time he talks to one of the generals in the army.
The funniest thing about him is that he has so much faith in Godzilla, even though he's never seen Godzilla. Like he just knows that he'll save humanity with like just pure faith.
Yeah, I noticed that too, but you know, I don't want this to sound racist at all, but maybe it's a Japanese thing. It's like that thing's a god. Let him do what he's gonna do.
Exactly.
But at the same time, it's like they did try to kill him before, so maybe he just got to the point where like, okay, this guy is pretty much unkillable, so like he must be halfway decent at
Let me ask you guys something. Like with Watanabe's character, his character's last name is the same character as the guy that kills Godzilla.
Yeah, I was thank you for bringing that up.
Did you guys notice that they never really referenced that at all, or really never came, to like hark back to it at all?
Why would they?
Yeah, why would they? Because
I thought like maybe like because I remember in the promotional material and like some of the read-ups I was finding out about the movie that they were putting connections to this where it's the same scientist that activates the oxygen destroyer and kills himself with Godzilla at the end of the first movie. And I thought like maybe his father was helping develop some research and stuff involving some of the Godzilla and the Mutos and stuff like that.
I guess
something where it could kind of nod to it.
I think in general they're just using the same names, but not the same type of events. You know what I mean? So it's not really connected to it. Only
you would have to assume that the audience knew all about like Godzilla's lore.
Yeah.
Put that kind of stuff in.
Yeah, I guess so. It is. Yeah, I kind of just call it like Ultimate Godzilla. Some of the same names, but it's totally different reconfiguration. So I didn't mind that.
Raymond Burr.
Yeah, Raymond Burr. But you didn't have that reporter guy. And we brought that up, by the way, before dinner. It's like, okay, because in the movie, the original Godzilla, he was like, oh, yeah, I stopped in London on my way to Cairo. It's like,
yeah.
Really? That's like not even close to fucking...
Yeah. well, it depends like where he came from.
He came from Chicago.
He was a Chicago news reporter, and he's like, I stopped in Japan on my way to Cairo. Really?
It's like, okay, if you were in Hawaii, that would make sense. Not if you're in Chicago. Just fly to Egypt. You don't have to go around the world. Yeah. But yeah, I kind of... I don't know. Did the movie really need a Raymond Burr type character in this movie?
No, because Raymond Burr was to service two things. So that they didn't need to dub all of the movie, right? Number one.
Very true.
So you just have him talking over a lot of the events. And number two, an American actor.
Yeah, I was about to say that. You get that white face. Yeah. Going back to the human stuff, I kind of didn't care too much for most of the characters, but it wasn't intrusive. Everything that happened was still about the monsters at the end of it. It wasn't like we're just going on a little side tangent there.
Yeah, I do agree though when you guys said essentially it's like Bryan Cranston was such a powerful presence in there. It's kind of and the young guy doesn't even really compare to Bryan Cranston's presence later on in the film. Yeah.
Although he wasn't as bad as people made him out to be.
He's not horrible.
No, he was pretty good.
No, he's not horrible, but I feel like
Bryan Cranston has better acting chops than...
Oh, yeah.
He has better acting chops than most people, though, to be fair.
But out of everybody on the cast, I think he probably had the weakest one. The weakest drive for him.
Oh, the Ford dude?
Yeah.
I agree with that.
Kick-ass?
Oh, okay.
He kind of did look like him, didn't he?
No, he was him.
Yeah, that's Kick-ass.
Yeah, that's
That was Kick-ass? He got fucking big!
Aaron Taylor Johnson, yeah.
And Quicksilver also in the Avengers.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. He is Quicksilver.
Question. His wife was Maggie Gyllenhaal, no?
No, his wife was actually... Yeah, she was not an Olsen twin, but she was an Olsen sister.
Who will be Scarlet Witch?
Yeah, she's Scarlet Witch.
Oh, yeah.
Whoa, slow down, wait. So in this movie we had
in the Avengers
and Scarlet Witch
fighting Godzilla.
As husband and wife.
Wow.
And think about Scarlet Witch's relationship with Quicksilver. They have that Lannister thing going on too, if you know what I mean.
Okay, so which Scarlet Witch? She's the Avengers Scarlet Witch, right?
No. Yeah. She's the Avengers Scarlet Witch, and which Quicksilver is he?
Quicksilver is the Avengers Quicksilver, yeah.
So it's just
So they're just both Marvel.
It's not a goofy crossover where it's the X-Men Quicksilver.
We're not going to talk about that Quicksilver.
No wonder Godzilla was attacking the city. I mean, that's just wrong.
Let's talk about that Quicksilver next week.
Avengers versus Godzilla? what's this?
That's basically what happened.
Pretty much.
Yeah, it kind of was.
The sequel is going to be the dog that survived. It's
Yes.
going to be Godzilla versus Megadog.
Megadog. Godzilla is back, and he's mad this time. What do we do? Get the dog. What do we do? Nuke the dog, and he will grow giant, and he will destroy Godzilla. Oh, man. All right, so we're about to wrap this up. So I want to ask you guys individually, what was your favorite moment of the movie? Nash, let's start with you. What's your favorite moment?
My favorite moment probably were the 2 fight scenes at the end. Actually, no, when his tail lit up when he did the atomic breath. Just because I think a lot of people in the theater that I was in were waiting for it to happen. And then once you saw like the fog, you saw it start to light up. Like everyone said, the whole theater just like went silent, and we were just all waiting for it to happen.
Nice. Brian, what about you?
I have to say it was the part is actually shown in the trailer where like we see his tail like in the smoke, and then we see like this flash of light, and then you just see like his silhouette just there like with his arms out, just looking like super. Like that scene.
That was cool because of the soundtrack too. The music that was playing with it was.
I didn't notice the soundtrack that much, apart from that one piece that they played like in the first trailer. But that's just me.
Yeah, it didn't stick out to me either. Don't worry about that.
I thought it was classic kaiju-esque or whatnot, a classic big movie monster-esque or whatnot. But very forgettable.
It was different than the usual scores that they're doing these days. It's not the constant like stuff, you know. It wasn't that.
Yeah, that was good. Yeah.
It wasn't Hans Zimmer, that's why.
Yeah.
What movie did Hans Zimmer do the music for that was kind of crappy that we were talking about?
The Amazing Spider-Man 2.
Yeah, you liked the music. I hated it.
I liked it. It's actually in my soundtrack for like when I'm working out. So, yeah.
Really?
Yeah, it's a good soundtrack. Along with Man of Steel as well, which is funny.
That's crazy. All right, Chris, what about you? What's your favorite moment?
Actually, I didn't pick a monster moment. I actually enjoyed the tension when he had to close the nuclear doors. That first scene just establishes all the helplessness to come in the movie. Like that's a scene that he had no control over that moment. He had to make a decision: either kill everybody in the plant or close the door and kill his wife. Right? It was a total lose-lose situation for him, and that just establishes all the helplessness to come for humanity in that movie.
I love that you picked the non-monster part. That's great. Exactly.
Yeah, I think that set the tone for the entire movie was him at the nuclear doors.
Yeah, that's true. You're right, because after that, I mean, like I said, you know, you remove the humans, the military out of the situation, it would have ended the same. Godzilla would have been victorious.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
You know? All right, Manny, what about you? What's your favorite moment?
Wow, that's okay. Why don't we just pick the final moment of the film where he blows the fire down his throat? We've never really seen Godzilla do anything like that before. You know, he's always thrown it at the monsters, but he's never like taken the moment and throw it in them.
You know,
He did from inside a monster one time. He did it when he got swallowed, and then he blew it out from inside.
It's kind of like the bullet hitting Superman's eye situation. It's like, oh, well, I've never thought of that.
Yeah, that's true. All right, Emily, what about you? What's your favorite moment?
I have two.
Okay.
Two. My first one is, it's kind of a more comical moment where Ford's son's watching TV, and you can see Godzilla and the Muto kind of just duking it out like hell on the television. I thought that was really funny, but also I think my favorite moment is actually the Halo jump. Aesthetically, I just found it to be absolutely beautiful. It was awesome. Just the contrast from, you know, like the setting sun after opening the bay doors and then just falling into this burnt down San Francisco. Just the contrast between all of it was awesome.
See, I agree with that, except that we had already seen that in a trailer. I would have been more excited if they never used that. We saw that happen unfold on the screen.
During that scene, this is slightly related.
I heard you were saying Metal Gear, aren't you?
Yes. At that point, I was thinking of the narration from Metal Gear Solid 3 when he opens the doors like, "Snake, this is a Halo jump."
I thought the same thing. This is what you get, people, when we talk about movies. We're going to bring in video games because you got a bunch of video game journalists in the house.
Exactly.
JJ, what about you? What's your favorite scene or scenes?
I'm same thing, kind of like Emily had too. Like, obviously, I love the climax one when he just breathes the fire down the Muto's throat. I thought that was awesome. It was different. It really got the movie theater, like, you know, ramped up. I thought it was crazy. But also, you know, even though we've seen it and heard it in the trailers or whatnot, that first scene when you first see him in full garb, where it goes up his body and he roars for the first time, the entire theater just erupted. It was like, you know, this is going to be good. Like, it was it was the same type of moment, if I had to describe it, is when you first saw Optimus Prime in the first Transformers movie. Granted, the rest of the movie was kind of hit or miss, but it was that moment that was like, okay, this is awesome.
Sweet. And as for myself, my favorite part was the part with the monsters. No, to be serious. Yeah, actually, yeah, my two favorite scenes were the ones with the, you know, the fire breath. Like, when you first see it just light up, like, you're right, it had that fog and stuff. It's like, it's blue. Like, here it comes. Because the whole time I'm like, dude, breathe fire on him. What the hell's going on here? When you see the goal, I'm like, here it comes. You just lash it out. And then the final one, yeah, it's like, because I thought he was just going to do a King Kong, just fucking rip the jaw off. Nope, he was like, take this. That's like the ultimate kind of like make out. Like, you know.
The timing on that was great. The timing on that was awesome. On both times when he did the fire breath, it was awesome.
Yeah, that was great. Yeah, and I like that he only did it twice. Maybe he can't do it too much. You know, maybe that's why he was like reserving it or something. You know, it may take up too much energy.
Actually, I think he did it 3 times because he did it once when he first did it, and then he did it again, and then he did it for the ending.
Yeah, I think you're right about that. And each time it was pretty damn effective too. It wasn't just like wasted or anything. And,
honorable mention for me goes to the bro moment between Godzilla and Ford.
Yes.
I think I really hated it and thought it was so corny when I first saw it, but I couldn't stop thinking about it. Like, the more I thought about it walking out of the theater, I think the more I really enjoyed it, because it showed that Godzilla isn't this, like, maleficent being, you know? He's just this kind of dude.
I think Ken Watanabe calls him a samurai. He compares it to a samurai in the movie.
Yeah, he's not this, like, malevolent being. He's just, he wants nature to go back to the way it's supposed to be, and kind of the interaction between Ford just was, like, solidified the fact that Godzilla was saying, you know, I'm not here to hurt you guys, but I'm going to do what is necessary to kind of restore balance back to nature. So I thought that was cool.
Yeah, you know, in a way that's kind of cool, because I was wondering about that. It's like, okay, what Godzilla are we going to get here? Are we going to get the destroyer, or are we going to get the savior? We kind of got both. That's what he is here. You know, he wasn't out to destroy mankind, but obviously if you're in his way, you will get trampled. You know, so yeah, I think they did a nice balance of like the savior Godzilla and the destroyer Godzilla, and they even call him that King of the Monsters. I thought that was really cool too. Yeah, you know, I mean, yeah, the movie pretty much lived up to, you know, what I was expecting it to be. I had a lot of fun. I want to see it again. That's how you know it's a good movie. I want to own it on Blu-ray, all that shit.
Oh, hell yeah.
Would you see it in 3D?
I'd see it in IMAX.
I don't want to see any movie in 3D, but I don't like 3D.
IMAX, though.
You
This
know
movie
that, dude.
seems like it needs to be seen in IMAX.
I want to see those big Godzilla nuts in HD, man.
Oh, man, Tony, something's wrong. Yeah.
I'm crazy. I know. Lizards don't have nuts. It just comes out and stuff. I'll stop now. All right, guys. Thanks for. Go ahead. One more thing.
Oh, well, on like a small like side note, or like one of the things that I didn't hate was the kids. Like, I have a big thing with kids in movies. It's like sometimes they shouldn't be there. It's like the first 2 kids they shown, which was the main guy as a kid and then his own kid. I was fine with that. But then they showed that girl on the island and that Asian guy in the
monorail
thing.
Oh, yeah. Short round?
You remind me of Short Round. Exactly. The exact same thing when I saw that.
Those 2 seems, you know, not being there, honestly. Like, they put in just too many kids, my liking.
Yeah, I agree with that. But yeah, I did like Short Round, though.
Dumb.
I was wondering, remember that one Godzilla movie where it was like the kid's imagination and stuff? You saw
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, like
Godzilla Raids Again.
Yeah, I wonder if that was like a little bit of a throwback to that. God, I didn't like that one, by the way.
You remind me of the one from Godzilla vs. Megalon where he helps the android dude. I thought it was a Jet Jagger, I think it's called.
Yeah, what was his name? Jagger or something?
Jake Jaguar or something like that, where he's like walking with
Man,
him.
get in here. What's his name?
Actually, it was but my girlfriend just corrected me. She said that it was Godzilla's Revenge that has the stupid kid in it.
Okay, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Godzilla Raids Again is the second Godzilla movie.
Yeah, what was the other question you had?
What was the name of the robot? Jet Jaguar or something? What was the name?
It was in Godzilla vs. Megalon.
No, what's the name of the robot?
Yeah.
Godzilla vs. Megalon, Jossie.
Yeah.
Name of the robot.
It was Jet Jaguar.
Not the one with the kid in it.
No, but which one was it that had the...
No, ask her the name of the robot.
The robot. The robot's name, it was Megalon, Godzilla, and Jet Jaguar. Yeah.
It was Joe Jaguar. Oh yeah, all right.
Oh,
So,
yeah.
Jaguar. There we go. I like get him in a movie.
and she said Digam was also in the movie too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wonder if there'll ever be. Can you actually get all those movie monsters in one movie and still keep it serious without it being like super corny?
Do they own the rights for anyone?
No, Toho does. Only Toho does right now. They have to license them from Toho.
Yeah, because that would be kind of cool to see, like, you know, Rodan. Because a lot of people thought the Muto was Rodan at one point. Like, oh shit. That would be.
I think the next one that if they were going to use one of the classic Godzilla monsters would have to be Ghidorah. I think it's pronounced Ghidorah, right? The Hydra.
Yeah. Or Ghidorah.
Good, yeah, something like that. That would probably be like the next one, in my opinion, that should get like the next like big treatment like that to give Godzilla like a bigger threat to fight. It's just like a monster with like a bunch of heads. So.
Yeah, Monster X, Monster Zero. That thing has so many names, man.
It's funny. Under your name on there, it says Monster Zero.
Yeah, I wrote that. I wrote Monster.
Monster X.
Yeah, Monster X. Because I tried to write King of the Monsters, but it just looked like a bunch of garbly bullshit. So I had to go for that and said, "Fuck you, Google." All right. Anything else you guys want to add in before we wrap this up?
Nope.
Definitely needs a sequel. I'll tell you that right now.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I'm with that. I just hope it's not corny because this was pretty damn good, and I want to see a big 2-hour behind the scenes making of this because I would love to see how they did it. That would be great.
Especially Andy Serkis running around as Godzilla.
Boy, I'm Godzilla. I am. I'm stop on this building. I will.
He was probably the one that came up with that idea of like open up the Muto's mouth and breathing fire down it or grabbing it by the throat. I thought that was cool.
That was the best, man. All right, guys. So tonight I was joined by Mr. Anthony Nash.
Goodbye, everybody.
Ryan Munjoma.
I guess I have to do the review now, don't I?
Yes, you do, my friend. Get on that. All right, Chris Seeley.
Yeah, go see this movie again, guys. It was great.
JJ.
What's up, people? Kaiju.
Emily.
Thanks, guys. Go see the movie. Seriously, it's definitely worth it.
Manny, what's that? It's Godzilla!
Oh!
Yeah.
Oh, your other hand was out of her.
Look, it's Gogeta.
Wait.
Oh!
Yes. Go see the film.
Yeah, it has monsters in it. All right, guys, and I was Tony. Thank you for watching and listening. We'll see you next week. X-Men Days of Future Past.
Yes.
Next
That'll
week?
be our next
Oh,
week.
yeah. That'll be awesome.
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
All right, guys. Peace out.
Make sure to stay tuned to this channel, which is the Throwdown. So.
Yeah, throw it down. We got video games and other shit for you guys.
Yep.
Watch, listen, and learn. All right, bye. Bye-bye, people.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.